everyone. Welcome back to our latest video on the Decision Desk HQ YouTube channel. I'm Liberty Vittert, the Senior Data Scientist here at DDHQ. We're back after a whole big week off, meaning there's a whole lot of new polls across the key battleground states to go over. Since our last update, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump have secured enough delegates to become the presumptive nominees of the Democratic and Republican parties. As always, we're going to explore the landscape of the 2024 Electoral College map, drawing on the most recent polling data from Decision Desk HQ and The Hill. For a more in-depth comparison, be sure to review our analysis available on our channel, and also make sure to visit elections2024.thehill.com for up-to-date information, accessible via the first link in this video's description below. As for this update, we have new figures for 9 states, including several key battlegrounds: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin. It's important to note that a state must have at least 5 qualifying polls to be included in our polling average. Overall, DDHQ has generated polling averages in 13 states. These states are our focus today, while the others have already been placed into race rating categories based upon the results of the 2020 presidential election. Safe states were decided by more than 12 points in either direction, likely states by 7 to 12 points, and lean states below 7 points. 270 electoral votes are required to win the presidential election, so let's jump right in. Nevada is going to be one of the newly elected RNC chairman, Michael Whatley's primary targets this November, as the party looks to take advantage of their momentum in the state by flipping it into their column at the presidential level, just as they did in the governor's office in 2022. Likely Republican nominee Donald Trump is absolutely on track to do so. He leads Biden by 5.7% based upon 20 polls included in the Nevada average, down half a point from our last update, but still a very, very strong lead. 2 new polls were added to this average from Noble Predictive Insights and Emerson College, showing Trump leading by 6 and then 5 points respectively. Trump has now continuously led in this average by at least 3 points since last October. Going back to the map, Nevada remains firmly in the lean Republican column. As for the state of Arizona, the second closest state in 2020, Biden's victory by only 0.3 percentage points made him the first Democrat to carry Arizona in a presidential race since 1996. There hasn't been a whole lot of movement in the Grand Canyon state, as we've only added 1 new poll to the average since our last update. Trump now leads Biden by 5.1% based on 27 polls included in the average. Trump has led by at least 4 percentage points since last October. If this were to hold come November, it would be a massive blow to Biden's re-election prospects, as keep in mind that Arizona has shifted almost 9 points in favor of Democrats relative to the nation since 2012, the 3rd strongest pro-Dem shift of any state. Shifting over to the Midwest, Iowa and Ohio, previously part of the Obama coalition, now are reliable strongholds for Trump. Both Iowa and Ohio voted for him by more than 8 points in 2016 and 2020. Trump's lead has held steady in Iowa at 9.5% based upon 8 polls surveying the race. We do have a new poll in Ohio, though. The average now is Trump leading by 11%, a slight decrease from his previous lead of 11.3% due to an Emerson College poll showing Trump in front by 10 points. However, still a major lead. Still, these 2 Obama coalition swing states go down as likely Republican on the 2024 map. Iowa has seen the strongest pro-Republican shift relative to the nation at the presidential level since 2012, while Ohio the 5th. Moving to the upper Rust Belt, this region has traditionally been labeled the blue wall. After having voted for Democrats, often by narrow margins in 6 straight elections between 1992 and 2012, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania broke away from Minnesota in 2016, each backing Trump by less than a point over Hillary Clinton, before then flipping back in favor of Biden by less than 3 points each in 2020. Had Trump carried them in 2020, he would be serving a second term right now, and we would be having a very different election update. There'll once again be critical battlegrounds in 2024, but we haven't seen any new polls in Wisconsin in over 2 weeks. Trump's lead remains at 2.4% based on an average 16 polls, so it remains in the lean Republican column for now. And again, surprisingly, we have seen no new polls in Michigan since the last update either. The former president holds an average of 45.4% across 29 polls to the sitting president's 42.1%, so his lead remains at 3.3%, a very strong lead for Trump considering he lost to Biden here by 2.8% in 2020. And out of the 3 key Rust Belt states, it is generally considered to be the least Republican friendly. Finally, though, we do have a new poll in Pennsylvania. Trump's lead has jumped up again to 4.8%, now based on 29 polls surveying the race in the Keystone State. The latest poll added from Emerson College, surveyed between March 10th and 13th, has Trump leading Biden by 4% among 1,000 registered voters, with 47.1% expressing their support for the former Republican president, compared to 43.2% backing Biden. So all 3 of these pivotal Rust Belt states will remain bunched together in the lean Republican category, a big win for Trump. So keep in mind that even if Biden manages to make a comeback in Arizona and Nevada, as well as Georgia, which we'll get to here in a bit, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan alone would be enough to win him the presidency. So as long as he holds the other 2 remaining states he won in 2020, North Carolina and Florida. Before we get to those states, though, let's take a status update here. With 5 states remaining as not yet rated on the Electoral College map, there are 79 electoral votes up for grabs. Donald Trump already has 250 electoral votes to his name. He could surpass 270 with just a win in Florida. Joe Biden, meanwhile, trails behind with only 209 electoral votes on this polling-based electoral map. Let's proceed to New Hampshire, where Biden was victorious by 7.5 points in 2020. His lead remains at 6.2% based on 8 polls. No new polls have been added since last week. It remains a lean Democrat state on the map. The same can be said down in the Commonwealth of Virginia, though that being said, we do finally have a new poll in Virginia, our first in over a month. Biden's lead has increased marginally to 4.7% from 4.1% based upon 12 polls now. Just like New Hampshire, it's unlikely to be on the target board for Trump, and it also goes down as lean Democrat. North Carolina is next, a perennially purple state that has been decided by less than 5 percentage points in 4 straight presidential elections. Republicans have won each of the last 3. This is a state that Trump will absolutely need to hold in 2024 if he's to take back the White House, as any further losses to his 2020 coalition would be detrimental to his chances of reaching 270. So far, Trump has consistently looked very strong in the Tar Heel state, leading Biden by 7.4% based on 17 polls included in the average. That's a 0.5 point decrease from the last update, as 2 new polls, one from Survey USA on behalf of WRAL News, and the other from Single Research, both showed the former Republican president leading by just 5 points. Still, North Carolina remains a likely Republican state. Alrighty. So if all these polling averages hold steady elsewhere, Joe Biden would need a miracle in Georgia and Florida to even get close to 270 electoral votes. Trump stands at 266 right now to Biden's 226. As for the state of Georgia, Trump's lead continues to narrow. This is the 4th consecutive update in which we have seen his margin drop from its peak of 8.6% in January. Trump now leads Biden by 5.1% based on 23 polls in Georgia, the same margin of lead he currently has in Arizona. Interesting, as remember, Biden won Arizona by 0.3% in 2020 and Georgia by just 0.2%, the closest state there was. Two surveys have moved this average. The first from Emerson College, surveyed between March 5th and 7th, with 1,000 registered voters responding. Trump led by 4 points over Biden in that survey, assessing a two-way contest with no undecideds. As you can see here, Trump with 52% to Biden's 48%. The second and more recent poll came from YouGov CBS News, and it showed Trump leading by 3 points. Similar in share to the Emerson College poll, Trump held 51% to Biden's 48%. Now, going back to the map, for the first time since we began this video series, Georgia dips into the lean Republican column from the likely Republican column. Finally, in Florida, with its 30 electoral votes at stake, another update with no new polls added. We haven't seen a poll in Florida since late November, and perhaps that's indicative of how unlikely the state is to be heavily contested by the Biden campaign in 2024, as Florida has shifted so hard to the right since the 2016 election. Trump's lead currently sits at 9.1% based upon 8 polls, meaning that Florida is placed in the likely Republican column. So that wraps up these race ratings based on the DDHQ and the Hill polling averages, which you can check out at elections2024.thehill.com. Republicans have held their lead in the race to 270, with 312 electoral votes for Donald Trump to Joe Biden's 226. Feel free to leave your thoughts, comments, and reactions in the comments section below. That's all for this Decision Desk HQ video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you did indeed like it, and subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already. Also, check out more content from our channel here, and I will catch you next week. Thanks so much.